Ann, would you like to kick us off?
Thank you all for coming. Did everyone get a copy of the minutes? Thank you. Meeting will come to order. Did everybody read the minutes from the last meeting, which was in June? They're here if you want to look over them, if you didn't get a chance to read them. And I think most of us were here. I'll entertain a motion to approve them if they're correct. Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Good. I think we all went to the ribbon cutting for ASURION Greenway, which is great. And we have some pictures just to show. I think everybody here was there. But anyway, we have some pictures so we can enjoy at the moment. It was the first celebration, opening ribbon cutting we've had in at least 3 years because of COVID. And we're going to have some more. They're just a great way to not only celebrate the good things that we're doing, but to advertise it and to thank all the people responsible. And this was a great partnership.
Thank you. So yes, what a great day. It was a great day down in the Gulch. So this was the sign that was originally at the Gulch, and pretty much everything else was renovated in this trailhead. So we started to kind of get you oriented. I think you all know where it is, but just in case. Bear with me here. Well, okay, not working. Solid green rod in the middle there is the Gulch Greenway. Over at the left, it starts at Frankie Pierce Park. And there we go. Starts at Frankie Pierce Park. It continues behind 11 North Apartments. It crosses MLK Boulevard, MLK Junior Boulevard. This is the Church Street Bridge where our trailhead is situated now. And this is a segment behind ASURION that was rebuilt, realigned, and then the future trailhead under the Broadway Bridge. So just a few shots. We had a few people. I think somewhere between 100 and 150. I don't know that we have a final count, but it was a fantastic turnout. We were very happy to have Councilmember Allen and Councilmember Syracuse, along with the mayor there, supporting, and many of you. A lot of fun. This is the mural that was done. This is not the day of when we were there, it's a few days before, but this was a blank wall on ASURION's building, and they collaborated with us and the design team for the building to develop this fantastic, just wonderful, colorful mural. It was a fun process working with the artist who had to wrangle lots of folks with lots of ideas. And she's with her company, as I saw the sign, and she did a great job. So that was just a contribution. You know, it belongs to ASURION, but they wanted to make sure that their building, which is adjacent to the trailhead, really contributed to the space, and I think they did a wonderful job. And then we took the colors from the mural and brought them out into the trailhead space, which needed to be rehabbed a bit anyway, just because of the construction that was happening in the area. So we thought it turned out really well. This is the ribbon cutting moment, and then you get another glimpse of the crowd that showed up, which again was really great. And we are so appreciative to everyone who helped. Greenways for Nashville for doing a phenomenal job of getting the word out, along with Parks, public information folks, Jackie Jones. Our maintenance guys came down and made sure everything was just spotless. And anyway, lots of partners, much appreciation. This photo was actually taken a few months before the ribbon cutting. The trees have leafed out. It's just exceptionally green. The left, of course, is the Gulch Railroad area, and then to the right is ASURION's building. And you can get a glimpse of the lighting and the landscaping that they came in and the fencing. This is looking down to Broadway, and this is looking, just turning 180 and looking back towards the Church Street Bridge. That's Amazon in the background, and you get a sense of what that feels like. I don't know if any of you remember what the old trail looked like, but it was, ran alongside a really cool stone wall, but it was, you know, it's kind of in the middle of a parking lot. So just an amazing change. This is the space under the current Broadway Bridge. This is standing back on the Greenway looking to 11 North, or 11th Avenue, excuse me. We have an easement under the majority of the space under the bridge, and we will be designing a trailhead under that space too in the future. This is standing at 11th Avenue and looking back towards the railroad tracks under the bridge. So use your imagination. We don't know yet. We haven't started design for this yet. We're thinking about how we tie all this together, Frankie Pierce all the way down to Broadway, and then the plan is to continue on with that. But anyway, we'll be looking at how that all ties in. Of course, it's going to change. The site immediate to the left of this picture is owned by Highwoods, as you all know. They bought that property and continue the extension of the Greenway, gave us an easement and brought it through here. So there's building plans that will happen there too in the future, and all that will have to be integrated together, but pretty exciting. Anybody have questions about ribbon cutting if you weren't there, or comments? Yeah.
Just one question. Can you talk about whatever maintenance plan is in place to keep that lovely mural vibrant and bright and colorful? Because it's so cool now, and I hope
It is. So that is owned by ASURION. It is it's on their building, and they will maintain that. In terms of the trailhead space underneath, that's ours. And so we'll be addressing that. There are some issues with birds that we need to address. We're looking at how to take care of that. And just generally, hopefully staffing up our maintenance division so they can give it the attention that it needs. The remainder of the Greenway, however, all the new Greenway will be maintained by Highwoods. So part of that partnership, we received the design and the construction of the Greenway and the landscaping and the lighting and the water drinking fountain that they brought in and the bike fix stations. So a really, really lovely partnership there. All right.
Have you seen an uptick in the usage of it since it's opened from the community or ASURION employees, or has there been any reports of usage?
I've been down there a couple of times since we opened, just driven by. The day before, there were fences around the entire space, construction fencing. And Brassfield and Gorey, who built the project, emailed me and said, we took those fences down around, 6:30, 7 o'clock that morning. And he said, Cindy, there were people waiting just to get into the space. And I've seen people, before it was opened up, trying to get photos of the mural and all. So from what I've seen, big uptake. The exercise stations are still there. I think the mural is a big attraction. And just being able to continue on down into the Gulch, away from the street, is pretty phenomenal.
I office down there, and I just came by there on the way here and kind of go by there quite a bit. And there's definitely more people on the street. It kind of connects the Gulch to sort of Capitol View. So there's a lot of folks walking to lunch from ASURION, particularly as folks get back to the office. There's still sort of 50-50 on that thing. I think you're going to see that and more tourists that want to come down and see now that it's a little more attractive walk from the Gulch proper. And I think once we finish this, whatever this is going to be, and once the buildings all fill in there, you're going to see it very active, I think. As far as birds go, let's talk offline on that.
Okay,
That's a lot of fun.
I think there are some solutions, but it's going to be a challenge. And
yeah.
And, you know, we know other cities have addressed it, but certainly we want to do that the right way. You know, it's a different kind of greenway. It's not Shelby Bottoms. You're not out in the middle of acres and acres of open space, but wow, what it brought into that space. Just the green space that has come with it and will continue as this finishes being developed is just an amazing transformation.
My husband walked with me to Frankie Pierce Park and back, and he was very impressed. And he doesn't like sidewalk greenways. He really likes, you know, lots of trees and nature and squirrels and things. But he was very, very impressed as it were. And people were using it. A lot of people, a lot of dogs in there are two dog parks in there. That was, they were well used. And
Frankie Pierce is extremely successful, and that too is partnership. And so we have two great anchors, you know, Frankie Pierce, and then whatever this ends up being, there's a lot of opportunity there, and it's a big space. So we're excited about that. All right. I will move on to our ongoing Charlotte Corridor Railway Trail project. The team recently walked the corridor with the consultants doing a phase 1 environmental, and that was fun just to get back out there in the area. There are a lot of restrictions and rules about being alongside a rail line, so that was a fun opportunity. And just a couple shots to remind you all what that looks like now. And you know, there's some amazing green space there. There's also some very industrial space. This is looking towards the end on the west side. There's a Metro fire station to the left there, and you can see some of the opportunities for space for the trail. But we have continued to meet with stakeholders. I think our last in-person engagement was about a week and a half or so ago with the Women's Caucus of Metro Council, and had a really good meeting then. And we're continuing now to meet with property owners right along the line. We met with stakeholders out in the community, and now we're honing in on the folks who have businesses or property or development plans right along the line. There is a survey, a community survey that's out and live now, and I'll follow up with you all with the links to that, but you can go onto the Metro Park social media, Greenways for Nashville, and take that survey and encourage particularly people in the neighborhood to, or really anyone though, to take that survey. It reflects the information or the kinds of questions that we asked in the in-person community meetings.
And go back to the map and show where it will go from Frankie Pierce Park, really, all the way.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the other map. It may be a little easier to read.
Right, that one.
Or maybe not.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Again, this is Frankie Pierce Park and the GULCH Greenway. The Charlotte Railway Trail runs east-west, potentially. We were still, based on the community input that we've gotten, we're working on the master routing plan for it now. But this is essentially the rail line, so it'll be in this corridor. There's also a little spur here that gives us an opportunity for something cool. This is 10th Avenue, so that would be our connection into Frankie Pierce Park. At the far east end is Rosa Parks and the farmer's market, so we want to connect into the farmer's market. Then it continues on down and ties into 28th Avenue, at the 28th Avenue connector at Charlotte. Run through those. So you may have questions about where we are now with that. The intention, you know, there's twofold with this project. One is the master plan, which will establish the routing among other things, and also policy. So setting design guidelines and a better way for us to achieve easements as developments happen. Because we're not on a waterway, where right now we do have some ability when projects along waterways, as you know, are developed and subdivided. We typically acquire an easement over the floodway, plus the 75-foot buffers and sometimes some additional property. We don't have that once we leave the river, so that's something that we're working towards and updating those opportunities for us to have some right-of-way. We don't condemn property for parks or greenways. So it is it's agreements with individual property owners. This was just another view of the rail. That was at one of our community meetings at Family Children's Services, looking out their window out towards the trail. All right, well, I'm going to keep moving on. So kind of in conjunction with, and y'all have seen this, with the trail project is the Park Plaza to Centennial Boulevard. And this one is just a little bit hard to read. I'm not even going to try to point on here, but it's outside our door. The trailhead right now that terminates the phase 1 of 440 Greenway, the trail would continue down to Centennial Park. And with that, because we're lighting our urban greenways, it's what we've done in the Gulch, we're looking at lighting this segment of the 440 Greenway and retrofitting lighting on phase 1 of 440. So we're going to look at that and see how that fits in the neighborhood. We'll be speaking with the community about that. We'll be following the dark skies ordinance. So it's a balance between wanting people to be able to use these, especially in the winter after dark, since it's dark, 5:30, 6 o'clock. Looking at the ability for people, if they've traveled out on the Greenway during the day, being able to get back home, and some security, but balancing that with the needs in the neighborhood.
There we go. Would you consider the use of motion detectors as opposed to having them on all night long, or timers?
I think everything's on the table right now. I think we really need to do a good due diligence of what is best, and certainly timers, but I see what you're saying, so that we don't have that light when no one's there. There's street lighting with the 440 Greenway that exists that sheds some light onto the trail. So we'll have to inventory that, analyze what's provided already, and then figure out what needs to be used as a supplement, and then how to manage all of that. The section in front of here along Park Plaza, it's pretty easy to address, but coming back, and again, the urban greenways that we're weaving into infrastructure that's already there and developments that are already there is tricky. So it's a lot to think about. And then the other section of the 440 Greenway that we're working on simultaneously will connect SEVIER Park at the community center end to Gale Lane Park, which already has a Greenway trail on it, and then over to Browns Creek Park, which also has a Greenway trail. And so this is SEVIER Park. This is Gale Lane Park, and the dark green that you see is that existing trail. And then we're looking at coming over to Browns Creek Park. This would be a future connection on over towards Franklin Road and Browns Creek Greenway. So pretty cool project, connecting 3 parks, 2 greenways that are already in place with bike and ped infrastructure. And it's an off-street greenway. So we're excited about that. And we're in due diligence and analysis right now on the design. Y'all jump in if you have questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep us moving.
One question about the interesting yellow part between, is that?
So that's a 3rd phase, maybe even a 3rd and 4th. And no particular reason, I guess, except that these are making connections that are, already there, things that already call out to be connected. So this will be future. It's a little more complicated. It'll cross back and forth over 440. There's some constricted spots there, so.
But it looks like y'all are beginning to sort of figure out where it might actually.
Kind of.
That's progress.
And this was based off early routing plans that we looked at when we did Tiger Grant application a few years ago. Certainly, this is a big fat line, right? So there's still a lot to figure out. And there's a lot of community input to have. When we initially started the 440 Greenway and we applied for grants, we did have community meetings. It's been a while. We know we'll need to go back. We'll do that with this SEVIER to Browns Creek. We'll have community meetings on that. So it's just, 5 years, there's so many people have come and gone and things have changed. Obviously, the interstate has changed. That we're not starting over. We have a base concept, but there's still a lot of work to do there.
Great, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, thank you. Opry Mills Connector, council members, I think we have our last, it's the license agreement. I think all of our easements have gone, all of our easements have gone through, and the license agreement with TDOT, which is just space in here, is happening, and we're looking at putting out to bid in the fall. So again, that's about a mile connector from the Cumberland River pedestrian bridge. And that greenway, of course, comes on over into the Stones River Greenway, heads out all the way out to Percy Priest Dam. And so we'll head this way over to the mall, and someday I'm gonna get these all on one drawing for you, but the greenway runs alongside, I think it's Opry Mills Drive, and then we'll cut across the parking lot and up to the mall. And it's actually, we revised just a little bit, but the Simon Group there that owns the mall has worked with us, and that was the easement that council just approved. So we're pretty excited about that. I know Jeff's gonna be excited when he can hear, we're gonna start. This is the Cumberland River Greenway at WHARF Park. And just to give you a little bit of an update, the master plan has been happening. The team will be updating the mayor's office, or the mayor, I think, next week. 88 Hermitage, that parcel was purchased. It will provide connectivity from Rolling Mill Hill, where the Greenway ends right now, up at the top of the bluff. Give us an opportunity to come through that campus where the historic Tennessee School for the Blind building still exists, and wind down, and with WHARF Park, it'll terminate under the Silliman Evans Bridge. Future connection will take us on down to Browns Creek. We had a meeting right before this with the railroad, because there is a rail line that runs through there, just talking about the logistics of crossing that. And there will be another public meeting to show the final master plan. The team's trying to establish that date right now, but we're close. And sorry, I should have come on here. This is 88 Hermitage. All of this is the park space. The existing greenway, of course, runs along here, so this will weave around and come down through the park. And then the Whites Creek Greenway at Hartman Park is still ongoing, getting property transferred. This was flood buyout property and some Piedmont property, getting all those transfers over to parks and getting a design team on board. But that greenway will follow the creek, but we also have an opportunity over here where there was flood buyout done. So now we have great open space with some mature trees, and it'll make a nice little neighborhood park. That will start with community meetings, of course.
Cindy,
Yes, ma'am.
See if I'm on properly. I wasn't listening when I got the tutorial session, so I'm learning by experience. So, is there a way we can get some general maintenance on that greenway until the plan is fully developed? Some of the walls are falling down, and the walk itself is crumbling.
Are you talking about from Hartman down to Mullins Park?
I'm talking about from Hartman, down to Clarksville Highway. Not quite over to Mullins Park. It's about a mile and a half.
Okay, short answer is yes, and long answer is let's sit down together in front of a map afterwards, and we'll we'll see exactly so that I can let our maintenance folks know.
Oh, okay. I've been asking for that for quite a while, so it really would be important if we could if we could get it fixed.
Absolutely, yes, let's talk about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for letting me know.
Cindy, I had a question. Can you go back one to the Wharf Park? So right now, are they working on a master plan? Like, are there
Yes.
gonna be like, I don't know, boat docks or like, for the crew
There is
racing, whatever you
water
call those things?
access, planned in the master plan, and it's been, developed as through community meetings that have happened. We've had a couple sessions of community, so it's been revised, and, this park will be built in phases, so I don't know yet. There's teams still working on how that will be phased out. We know the Greenway is planned to be part of the first phase. But there is water access planned, playground activities, athletic courts, lots of nature, paths within the park itself. There's a significant bluff here, so the views from behind 88 Hermitage is pretty significant. There's a lot of elevation change, so you are truly winding down. But if you go on Metro Parks website, I think they have the graphics up from the most recent public meetings. You can take a look at those, or we're happy to sit down and walk you through those too. And then, like I said, they're working on a schedule for presenting the latest draft of the master plan to the public.
And Cindy, can I ask one other question? Is there, I'm not sure if I'm seeing yellow lines leading to the Napier Sudicum homes. Do they have good pedestrian connections to that?
It's not part of this project. I think in scoping out and developing the program for the parks, they were looking at how those connections could be made. And I think that's something that NDOT and Parks would, coordinate on.
I'll check with NDOT. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And again, 88 Hermitage. I'm going to touch on this one. I'm sorry that the graphics are so poor on the screen, but we've mentioned this a few times. This is the Harpeth River Greenway and Harpeth River. Property here on this side of the bend is property that Metro Parks was donated by the Dorothy, Kate, and Thomas Frist Foundation for a park. The tip of that bend is owned by the state, and we have a trail on that. And the HYSA soccer fields are adjacent to that. This side is property that was owned, we've always called it the Fussell property. Dr. Fussell owned that property, and a developer is looking at developing that. So again, Parks property, Fussell property, state of Tennessee, soccer fields on this side, and Highway 70 out here, Interstate 40 over here. So this developer is planning or proposing a multi-family development that would be up in the high part of this property. And they've got to amend the community plan. They would have to do rezoning. So it's all very, very preliminary, but just to let you know, in their plans, they're proposing to extend the Greenway. It currently ends here. This is CSX Railroad. This is Morton Mill Road. So it terminates here at the railroad. So the developer is proposing to construct a tunnel under the railroad, so it's elevated there, up on a berm, and continue the Greenway trail down to the pedestrian bridge so that it connects into this trail network. And let me see if I think this other one might be a little easier to see, but they're proposing or wanting to construct a vehicular bridge that would come from Coley Davis Road over into the property so that the residents of the multifamily would access the property this way. That would give us an opportunity to have a park road that would come off the foot of the bridge, this little cul-de-sac, and then come into the park space and for us to develop that. There have been many, many public meetings. They're really reaching out to the community, and there's a lot of support, and there are a lot of concerns, and they're working through that. And, we're at the table because it involves a greenway. It also involves a possible dedication of about 20 acres of land here that could be used for ball fields or just open space. I mean, there are a lot of things that could be utilized for, but certainly would add to the city's open space acreage, publicly owned open space. Just keeping this in front of you, like I said, there have been a lot of public meetings. If you're interested, planning held the last meeting, and certainly we can put you in touch with them, what's happening there. We're meeting again in-house tomorrow with the developers so that our maintenance folks can understand what's proposed, and our folks who program ball fields and athletic activities can also be in the loop. So no decisions made yet, lots of input happening right now. Oops. Another project that is happening downtown, this is Old First Avenue right-of-way. This is the Cumberland River Greenway. This is Jefferson Street Bridge and 2nd Avenue. This was property owned by the state of Tennessee. We have a greenway that runs through the middle. First Horizon Park is down here. And then the Cumberland River Greenway that parallels the river, which is right down here. So just letting you know that this is another multifamily, a little bit of mixed-use development coming in, and they're proposing to make improvements to the greenway to widen it out and doing some additional landscaping and really embracing the greenway in a way that I think we're all going to want. So just letting you know that that's happening. The Trinity Parkwood habitat is under master planning, so they're a partnership with Habitat to build a trailhead and a trail connectivity. And then this is park space that already exists, and Tim Nage, who runs the planning division, is looking at developing this space, and trails are kind of a natural for that. There's a whole neighborhood over here that we're hoping to connect in. That is ongoing. Browns Creek Phase 2, this is a project that the Fair Board is managing, but existing Browns Creek Greenway on Fair Park is here, and this project will continue it on along Browns Creek over to Nolensville Road. And that is still a design, still being finalized on that.
Will it be open during all the activities?
That is, yes, that is the request from the Parks Department. It must stay open.
Right.
There's some alternative pathways and things in that park that are being designed so that there are lots of ways to move around.
There are a lot of activities, though, and, people will not want people walking along, getting free what other people are paying for.
Well, the Greenway will remain open.
Good, okay. I think that's vital.
And then I think I have shared this with you all, but just in case I haven't, this is the Peabody Union Development. It's under construction right now at the corner of KVB Bridge and the trolley barns, which are over in this area. This is a greenway, or was a greenway, that existed, came under the KVB Bridge from Ascend Amphitheater and goes up to Rolling Mill Hill, so kind of ties into WHARF Park. So you're starting to see a whole lot of connectivity. As part of this development, this greenway is being rebuilt. So previously, this was property owned by MDHA. We had an MOU with them for the greenway, but we didn't have a permanent easement. With the development, with the sale and ownership of the property now, they have dedicated an easement. Council has approved that. So we have that security of the greenway remaining, and they will be rebuilding it, adding some amenities, overlook areas, and some additional green space. They've made this connector here accessible to the public. It's not in an easement, but it is accessible, and it's all activated by multi-family and mixed use. So that's a pretty long rebuild on this project. I think it's about a 3-year build out. So in the interim, if you come down Rolling Mill Hill, you're directed onto Peabody and then down to Hermitage Avenue to make that connection. So that one also, a permanent easement, they're designing and rebuilding the Greenway, and they'll maintain it for us. So it's a real win for the city, for Metro Parks. I think that's my last one, yep. So happy to answer any questions. And if not, we'll move on to Greenways for Nashville for their report. Yeah, okay, Amy?
So I don't have any slides, but I think a lot of the work that we have supported, Cindy has talked about, and are probably, when you see these large gatherings of folks, both at community meetings and the Zoom meetings, the Bellevue property community meeting, we take very seriously the mission of getting people informed, providing them, not taking a position, but rather when Greenways are involved, they need to understand what's being talked about, what the possible Greenway impacts are. And in that particular case, all positive as it pertains to Greenways. But really driving our community, and our community is you, and that's through social media, it's through newsletters, and you all receive that information from us. But we're not gonna, well, I guess I am gonna pat ourselves on the back. I think the GULCH Greenway opening is a great example of collaboration and the messaging to get folks out there, and then you all sharing that message. Very often when it comes from a nonprofit, it's more readily shared throughout the community, and we're able to put some dollars behind advertising on social media. And it really paid off in spades. When we were there, and those of you who were able to attend, just the energy in that area was electric. People were so excited. And, you know, that's an urban greenway, which, you know, has different aspects, but that, you know, just so grateful to have this space. And that partnership, and to be able to hold up high these public-private partnerships with ASURION and Highwoods and the many that were mentioned, the team that, again, worked with Cindy, but just to kind of show that as a role model. So we will beat that drum in the community, because there are many others that Cindy is working with, and I think if we can all exemplify that, share those examples, it is going to help accelerate, both reduce costs to Metro and get a product that is maybe even in some cases better than what Metro would be able to do because of the maintenance issue. Mm-hmm. So it's super exciting, you know, to see the feedback and to see the reaction and the response. I think we gave out 200 Greenway maps at that event. That, you know, probably several people took more. I know ASURION took a big stack to take inside to their staff, which is what we want to happen. So those are people who weren't y'all. You already know, you already have a map. These are people who wanted the information. So that's just, you know, kind of a wonderful example, and there will be more in the future, but it's a movement, and it's fun to be part of it. And the marketing and communication is really important. We have got a project that's happening right now today. Jeff, if you run over to one of the Stones River trailheads, I think you're gonna see new trailheads. They're installing today. I've seen a couple of, we've got a staff person out there supervising the crew who's putting them in. So this is upgrades to trailheads that are simply not the metal structures have all been repainted, resurfaced, and then the maps have been updated. They're easier to read, and they incorporate the expansion of the system since whenever they originally went in. So really excited about that one, and I'll share, don't go to Wave Country because that one's going last because of some design. Pick any other. So we have 7 along Stones River. The Whites Creek Greenway Trail is going to get theirs within the month, and there are 3 at Whites Creek. So that is the first batch of trailhead enhancements. And you'll, again, see them when you're out on the trail, and we will push that information out. Public-private partnership, us being the private component and the donors, our donors paying for this. The public component, obviously working with Cindy and her staff on the accuracy of the information, but we managed those contracts with the park board permission.
It's such a great upgrade on these trailheads, so needed, and, just updated graphics, everything, it just looks really good, and we really appreciate all the work. It's a lot of work that's gone into that, to coordinate all that on Greenways for Nashville's end, so thank you.
All said and done, it'll end up being about a $75,000 investment. And we hope to continue it we will continue another batch, but our board will review how they want to proceed and the funds they want to allocate, but we are intending to continue. Dinner by the Bridge, you will all, you can be completely off of social media, we're still going to find you. An invitation will be delivered to your home. We would love for you to put October 6th on your calendar. This will be after 2 years of not being able to have a gathering of that size. In person, October 6th, it's a Thursday. It is in Cumberland Park. It's amazing. We have had a tremendous success. First rollout corporate sponsors, patron letters have gone out recently as well, and then general tickets will be on sale in early September for the October 6th. It will sell out. It always sells out at 458, so if you're thinking about it, don't hold back. And I'm going to, huge kudos again to the work of y'all and the work of the department. We've raised about $250,000 just in corporate sponsorship. So the community wants this to continue and to grow and to expand, and we can use those dollars to leverage what the Parks Department is able to do. So I'm excited there. So a little bit of social, and out and about, always have maps for y'all if you'd like to take them back, give them out, or at your business. Let us know how we can help you spread the good word.
Thank you. All good news. Anna, I think you're our only department rep today, so take as much time as you like and let us know. Anna Dearman with NDOT, and I'll butcher your title, so I'll let you.
That's okay. Hi, everyone. I'm the walking and biking manager at NDOT. I'm pretty new to the role and just have a few updates as it relates to your work in Greenways. So I'm not sure how aware everybody is of some of the work at NDOT this year. So just so you know, we released our 2022 walk and bike update, which is our strategic plan for sidewalks and bikeways. So that came with a 3-year list of projects that we are going to strive to advance to design and or construction. Several of those relate to Greenway projects, and I'll touch a little bit on some of those. We also released our Vision Zero action plan and implementation plan this year. And so the goal of that effort is to reduce traffic, serious injuries, and fatalities to 0 over the next several years. And we'll be going to council shortly with asking the council to pledge to partner with us in that safety effort. Related to that, I'll just jump into a few project-specific efforts. For the Charlotte Rail with Greenway project, are sharing safety data to get a better understanding of outcomes for people walking and biking in the vicinity of the proposed alignment so that we can proactively plan for that facility to be safe, especially when you're interfacing with the public street. We also are working on a sidewalk project, perhaps on the alignment of the 440 Greenway, and so looking to hopefully come up with a solution to make that accessible for people biking the Greenway as well as for people walking the Greenway. We are currently moving B-cycle bike share stations out of parks facilities and into the right-of-way. That's, I believe, approximately 6 or 7 stations around town. And then the 12th Avenue South Bikeway project, It's not exactly related to a parks project, though it does connect into the Gulch Greenway. It extends from 12th Avenue South at Division Street in the Gulch all the way down to the 12th South commercial area around Lawrence and Ashwood Avenues. And that project's really exciting because it transforms the corridor, which currently has just painted bike lanes, to protected bike lanes. And in between the bike lane and the driving lane, there will actually be concrete planted bioswales. So more than just a planted area, these bioswales will help manage stormwater. And so it's really one of the city's first complete and green streets projects. This is a world-class bike facility. I'll be sharing information on this facility with people from across the continent at the National Association of City Transportation Officials, or NACTO conference in Boston next month. So it's really going to be a gem for the city and a transformative project that we hope to do more of as part of the walk and bike implementation in the future. This is one of our priority bikeways since about 2017, when walk and bike was originally updated, and so we're hoping to have as much construction complete as possible by the end of the year. You can see it now. It's quite a mess on 12th Avenue South, as I'm sure some of you are aware, but I understand from the crew that they see people biking the corridor even in its current condition, and so there's definitely a lot of demand for a robust bikeway on this stretch. Other than that, my only other update is that we now have a protected bike lane sweeper whose name is Demon Brewman. That was the community's selection. It was fun. It's kind of a Nashville inside joke. And so Demon Brewman is very busy, Demon Brewman. And I know I encounter him in the wild all of the time. So our protected bike lanes are actually in pretty good shape, even relative to our striped bike lanes currently. But if you notice any debris, please report it to Hub Nashville. I believe that's my only update.
Can you talk a little bit more about the e-bike relocation stands? Did you mention 6 or 7?
Yes, so there are currently some B-cycle stations that are located on Parks property, and Parks, their contract with the Nashville Downtown Partnership is ended in June, and so now they're contracting with NDOT, and so we're moving those facilities to the right-of-way since that's NDOT owned and managed space.
Can you tell us what those 6 locations are?
I do not, let's see. Let me look it up here. One is the station in Shelby Bottoms that's at the Nature Center. One is a Parthenon station. There's another in Centennial Park, so that's 3. There's one at Ted Rhodes Golf Course. And then Richland Creek has already been moved to the Geodis Stadium, I believe. There's one at Walk of Fame Park downtown that's being moved to more the Bridgestone property. There's one, okay, the Parthenon is going to Edge Hill Library. I know I'm leaving 1 or 2 out. Morgan Park is moving.
It sounds like 6. So what does it look like when it's moved to the right-of-way?
So the right-of-way typically extends beyond even the sidewalk in some locations into what would look like a planted area. And so it will go basically adjacent to the sidewalk in most cases, but that's still technically within the right-of-way that NDOT might need to manage, or that Metro might need to access for utilities or something like that.
But it wouldn't in any way obstruct traffic?
Correct. It will be outside of the sidewalk and the driving lane or the parking area.
For example, the one outside, not in the Nature Center at Shelby Bottoms, where will it be?
That one we have not determined a location for yet. The right-of-way, and so, NDOT does not own the roadways within Shelby Bottoms.
Right.
And so the right-of-way is actually a good distance from that station. And so we're still looking at where that one might land.
Okay, so on a regular road somewhere.
Right.
A regular public metro road.
Correct.
Okay.
Or the right-of-way that extends beyond the pavement, and beyond the sidewalk to that area, that sort of planted area behind the sidewalk. And we'll be pouring a concrete pad for that.
Do we, I know we have some data for usage on some of those, because some of those are being moved because they weren't being used where they were. Do we have data on that Shelby Parks one? Because I was thinking that one got a whole lot of traffic.
I believe it does. I don't have the data at my fingertips, but I could certainly provide that.
That'd be handy to have. Thank you.
Sure, and I could provide a list as well of the stations. I believe I'm leaving one or two out.
Because at Shelby Bottoms, you could park there at the nature center and then do a bike. So I just wonder, will they be parking somewhere else where they're moved to?
Potentially, it just depends on the location. That is, again, a challenging location to find a sort of comparable relocated space for, so.
Thank you, Anna. It was a great update. Appreciate all that information.
And that's, I mean, one of the problems on the greenways with the B-cycles, with motorized e-bikes, was the speed and the number of people and so forth. And so I know you're trying to get it out of there, which is good. And so.
Well, but just to be clear though, e-bikes are allowed in greenways.
Yes.
They
But
are not
but they won't-
prohibited.
But they won't be stationed there, right?
At this time, NDOT is looking at relocating those. I think overall, the grand scheme plan, which we'll start working on soon, I think this week, tomorrow, is a bike share program for the city, and just well planned out bike share program and how to relocate and locate and make that work.
But not e-bikes. With the
Certainly
bikes.
e-bikes will be part of that,
Oh,
certainly.
Since we're on that, I would just love to
yeah.
advocate for Shelby Parks ultimately having some kind of bike share back by the Nature Center, because that seems to have been a very popular one. It would be a shame to lose that in the shuffle.
I think all of that, a holistic look with NDOT at parks and other connections that, a good bike share program, planned out bike share program,
Yeah.
looks at all those connections that can be made and where stations should be and the whole full structure, so.
Thank you.
That was one of the most popular places.
So I want to add that there are vendors who are
right.
bike rental firms who are already in the Parks Department. And so they work with clients who want to rent a bike for an extended period of time to use, they can use it however they want, but use it recreationally, and they work out of Shelby into Rivers with a van. And then there are several bike shops in the East Nashville area who do half-day hourly rentals. So again, it's with the thought in mind that that individual is using it in the park recreationally, riding for a couple of hours, which is rental versus a short-term bike share, a little different.
Great. Anna, thank you very much.
Thank you all. It's nice to meet you. Thank you.
And anything else, any other subjects, any other comments?
I do want to mention one thing I left off is that, we were fortunate to get funding for 5 new positions in the Greenways and Open Space Division. So we're working right now with HR to get those out into the public. We've got the job descriptions written and we're finalizing those. So stay tuned and pass the word.
And if anybody has any candidate who would be great, I mean, if someone really likes and enjoys Greenways and is already an advocate, that would be an additional plus. So just spread the word.
Yep.
We've got a field trip probably in 2 months, and they're always fun. Whether it's a site where you go and see something, like we went before the ASURION, we saw it in the before stage, and it was very interesting, or whether it's really a walk, and we all put on our walking shoes and walk something that's been done. So if anybody has any suggestions or wants to see a place and hadn't gotten around to doing it, this will be a good time.
Yep, thank you. We're going to finish early today. That's all I have, unless there are questions.
Does anybody have a suggestion for the field trip? And if something should come up, we can always change that. But October should be cooler.
All right.
Brenda?
Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov